So initial jobless claims fell last week. We talked about this seasonally adjusted number coming in at 388,000. It was a little shy of expectations, but it does go along with a solid job growth. Tomorrow, economists expect non-farm payrolls rose 190,000. They do think the jobless rate, though, will stay at 8.9%. So are those numbers good enough? And what do we need to do to get the unemployment rate to really drop? Bill Rodgers is a former Labor Department chief economist, current professor of public policy at Rodgers. Bill George is former chairman and CEO of Medtronic, also professor at Harvard Business School. Bill George, I want to start with you before we get to the jobs issue, though, on the story of the day and this issue about David Sokol at Berkshire Hathaway. I'm sure you have your own impression of this. Does this pass the ethical smell test to you?
Well, I heard David on your show earlier today. I think there's a lot we don't know. He was fairly persuasive, but I'll say one thing. You can always count on Warren Buffett to do the right thing and not play too close to the line. So I think there's more we need to know. But personally, I think as executives, as a CEO, I never sold a share of Medtronic stock, and I just think it's not a good idea to invest in stocks that you might be involved in. Now, of course, they're in the investment business, but I think for personal accounts, it's a little close to the line for me. And I think Warren, whatever the circumstances, would probably did the right thing in this case, Aaron.
And having him live. All right. Well, thanks. We just wanted to have you weigh in on that. And now let's talk about this issue of jobs. And you want President Obama to appoint a job czar. I have to say, a lot of viewers are going to go, well, come on, another czar. Don't we have enough of them? Make the case.
Well, basically, we have Secretary of Commerce job open. Gary Locke was not known by the business community. Secretary Locke's now going off to China. But I think we could combine the Secretary of Commerce job, which traditionally has not been a strong cabinet post, with a White House job czar in one position and put a top-flight CEO, someone like Eric Schmidt, who's now chairman of Google and given up CEO job, or John Doerr from Kleiner Perkins, or I tell you, did a fabulous job turning around General Motors is Ed Whitaker, and bring Ed back into one of these jobs, or Carlos Gutierrez, but somebody who the business community really knows, has confidence in, and could clear away some of the excess regulations and bureaucracy and get focused on how we create jobs.
And you think it is about excess regulation and bureaucracy? There's no question in your mind that is the key to reigniting employment in this country?
Well, no, that's just one key, Simon. No, I think there are a lot of things we need to do. I think the president's taken a lot of good moves. The ML Council, Competitiveness Council, the move of Steve Case on Startup America, the move of the Export Council, Jim McNerney and Ursula Burns, the Xerox. These are all good moves. But, you know, we've gotten distracted. And the president can't focus on these things because he's focusing on Libya. He's focusing on the nuclear problems in Japan. And we need someone doing it every day to talk to the business community and give them confidence and assurance and find out what it is more we need to do to create jobs, Aaron.
Bill, do you think we need to do more job czar or something, or are we now on a self-sustaining path where we're really going to get job growth?
Yeah, and we've had, first really strong stimulus, the second very strong stimulus. Right now we're sort of waiting to see, or living through its effects right now. I think it's an interesting idea. You can never, have enough conversations about job creation, particularly with the companies that the professor is talking about. If you look at the ADP report that came out yesterday, again, it continues to show the job creation is in small and medium-sized firms over the last 12 to 15 months.
Yep.
And so, we really got to figure out, okay, what is it going on in those large firms, which the professor's talking about. I think some of it is regulation, but also, we know there's a large chunk of dollars that are being held by companies either because they're still concerned about uncertainty, or also there's a piece about there's a new kind of outsourcing, right? That along with the jobs going abroad, I think there's also evidence that many companies are expanding abroad, and so why would you hire here in the U.S. when you're growing markets abroad?
You are a former Labor Department chief economist, aren't you?
Yes.
I'm always fascinated by when we talk to the Labour Secretary in the wake of the jobs data once a month, and the very political nature of that interview. When you're in the department, is there a perception that you can change and control what is going on? Or is there a perception, as I just heard from you, that in fact you're kind of outside observers and the economy is just kind of doing its own thing over there?
Well, there's two pieces to this story. One is you can what you say, what the Labor Secretary says, and when I work for Alexis Herman, we really thought hard about what's the message, because it's never
in the first person. It's never I want to or we will do. It's this kind of stand back and
I think that's for more this administration. But our
Which
approach.
Administration were you?
I would work with the Clinton-Gore administration. I was Alexis Herman's chief economist, but she very much owned the economy. Her responsibility was, I'm the job counselor, and so the first part of this was making sure that people on Main Street and Wall Street, were everywhere, felt comfortable that we were in tune with what was going on. And the next piece is implementing policies that can help on the margins, but also can have major impacts on how income is shared, how prosperity is shared, how productivity gains that are going to people on Main Street get distributed out through the broader economy. And that's one of my concerns that I share with the producer, is that if we get another number in the 200,000 range tomorrow, it's good. We're moving into the second gear, strong, robust growth.
Right.
But it's starting to create some concerns about what I'm calling a bifurcated recovery. And the example of that is that college graduate unemployment over the last 12 months has fallen. Their employment population ratio, that share of them working, has risen. So they're getting jobs.
Right.
But the high school grads, their unemployment has fallen, but their share of the employed has fallen. So we're starting to see a schism.
And Bill George, how do you deal with this, though? I mean, you're talking about a job czar. I mean, there's the short-term issue of wanting to create more jobs. Everyone says it's all about jobs, 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 and no one really knows how to create them. Then there's the longer-term issue, which I think, as you're alluding to, does have to do with skill sets and the education issue, which is going to take a long time to fix, if we even do fix it.
Yes, that's right, Aaron. But we've got to get started on the retraining. We know now that the tech jobs, particularly in Silicon Valley, you can't hire people out there because there aren't enough trained people.
Yep.
So that does get to education and training. That's a longer-term problem. For a short-term fix, one of the things that the president hasn't done, he could easily do. Bill mentioned we've got corporate coffers filled with cash, or something like $2.2 trillion sitting on the books, but half of that's outside the United States. If we were to have a repatriation holiday and let companies bring that back, not just to put in their coffers, but actually invest. So the deal would be you bring back $100 million from overseas, and you have to invest it in factories, in research, in hard creation that will lead to creation of jobs. I think that would really get this economy moving, because yes, it's true, it's moving in the right direction. We still have something like 25 million people either unemployed or underemployed, and we've got to get this economy really to be robust so that we can be competitive with the rest of the world.
All right, thanks very much.